So you're here because you're looking for the best laptop for Premiere Pro on a budget. Now you're in the right place because we're going to talk about some laptop recommendations as well as the specs and technical aspects of why I've recommended these laptops. So that sounds like you're in the right place, then stick around because it's coming at you right now. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Benji Kaiser. This is where you're going to find the best tech and tools for creative professionals. So if that sounds like your kind of place, consider subscribing and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. In this video, we're specifically talking about laptops for Premiere Pro on a budget of under $1,000. So these laptops are going to be around $1,000 to around $650. So if that's not your budget, I will try and make another video for laptops on a better budget. Comment below and let me know what your budget is so I can help you out specifically. Now, if you're curious about the exact specs, in-depth, or pricing of any of these models as we're going through the video, you can head down into the description below and click one of those links. Now, if you do use that link, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you, and that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. All right, so we're going to dive in first to the laptop recommendations. I'm going to walk you through a list of laptops. Then I'm going to circle back and talk about the specs and the aspects of the laptop you want to be considering when you're buying a laptop for Premiere Pro on a budget. It's very important that you're being aware of the specs and the intricacies because you don't want to get a laptop that is underpowered and just straight up a disappointment. I mean, let's just get real. You want a laptop that's capable. All right, so the first thing we're going to jump into is the Acer Predator Helios 300. This is my favorite budget laptop to recommend. It is actually one of the top selling laptops on my channel last year. So a lot of people liking this laptop for creative professionals and gaming alike. So if you're a video editor who also likes to game, great laptop. So the Acer Predator Helios 300. The MSI GL63. This laptop is fantastic. It runs very cool. MSI is known for their really good thermals, and it does complement well as a gaming laptop as well, but it's going to handle Premiere Pro very well. We're starting with the high performance category. Didn't mention that. Sorry about that. All right, next we're going to move into the Lenovo Ideapad L3. This is more of a light laptop. It's got one of the best processors in this lineup. It's got the i7 9750H, really good processor. Next is the Lenovo Flex 15. This is another nice thin and light laptop, great for video editing, good performance, and it has the latest 10th gen 10510U mobile processor from Intel. Really good processor in the latest generation. All right, next we're going to move into the mid-range. The mid-range laptops, we have the HP Omen, and this laptop comes with the i5 9300H. This is a really good high-performance i5 mid-range chip from Intel. After that, we have the HP Pavilion X360. This is the i5 10th generation 210U. This is their newest mobile processor in the i5 model. A great processor showing really good specs and performance on the benchmarks. All right, next we're going to move into the budget category. The first budget laptop we have is the Asus Tough Fx 505DT. I find this laptop is one really great for people on a budget. It's got good power. It's got the i5 8300H. You can also get it for a little bit more money in the i5 9300H. Gets you a little bit faster processor, but this laptop is a great buy. Next, we have the HP Pavilion gaming laptop. That is the i5 8300H as well. And then finally, we have the HP Pavilion X360 with the latest i5 10210U mobile processor. All right, so that is our lineup. Those are the laptops I'm looking at. Let's talk about why I chose those laptops. So first of all, we're going to discuss the CPU ranking and comparison. So if you notice those laptop processors, I had some of the laptops in the mid-range category with the i5 9300H. But then all of a sudden I had the latest 10th gen i5 10th generation 210U in the budget category. It's because the H on that processor stands for high performance versus the U on the 10th generation processor is ultra low power, which means it consumes less power, it gets better battery life, but it doesn't have as much performance. So you got to make sure when you're choosing a laptop for Premiere Pro or when you're choosing a laptop in general, you understand some of those classifications. That H processor is going to have more power than that U processor. So although it's a newer processor, that 10th generation 10210U, it's not going to be as powerful as a little bit older generation, but high performance categorization of that i7 9300H processor. So that kind of helps you understand kind of the breakdown and the intricacies of the processors. I should go really deep into all that in another video on another channel I have called Don't Tech With Me. If you want to watch all the ins and outs and the comparisons of Ryzen processors versus Intel, explaining all the different categorizations and classifications, you can definitely go check out that video in the YouTube cards above or the description below when it's released. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is the timeline, export, and running multiple programs. And this is all relating to the CPU. So the budget category is going to be able to run Premiere Pro, and that's all you're going to want to run if you're doing Premiere Pro, because these laptops don't have the really good high performance of, say, a high-end Dell XPS 15, where you can run Premiere Pro, you can run maybe Adobe Photoshop, you can be listening to music and browsing the web all at the same time. These laptops in this list are good. They're really great laptops. You just want to make sure that you're prioritizing the power of your laptop to the program you're using. So if you're video editing, I recommend shutting all the other programs down, opening up Premiere Pro, and doing your video editing. That's going to give you the best speed in the timeline. It's going to give you the best export times, and it will allow you some good rendering times. So it's very important to consider, especially in the laptops that are in the mid-range to budget category. Some of the laptops in the higher end category, the high performance category of this list, you actually can run multiple programs at the same time. But if you're in those more budget categories, definitely remember to run one program to get optimal performance. All right, next we're going to talk about the GPU. The GPU complements the CPU during all the tasks within Premiere Pro. So when you're running in the timeline, if you open up your task manager, it's Control-Alt-Delete on Windows, you'll see that you're getting pulling about 60 to 90% or more of that CPU to run that timeline and even to export. And then you'll notice your GPU is going to be around 15 to 35%, depending on how much it's having to process. If you have the timeline on fourth quality, half quality, or full quality image display in your preview box when you're watching through the timeline and editing. So the GPU complements the CPU. You're always going to get more CPU usage. But then again, when you're moving towards 4K video and 1080p, that GPU is going to start to climb in the usage because it's having to display the higher quality image onto your screen. All right, now definitely when it comes to rendering time, so if you're doing any motion design or animations in your videos, you'll see the GPU pick up as well. So that's where you're going to want one of these laptops with some of the higher end GPUs like the GTX 1650 or the GTX 1050 Ti. Some of those laptops are going to have that GPU, and that's a really great GPU for high-end, or for more like 4K and 1080p video editing. All right, next we're going to look at the RAM. So how does the RAM affect video editing? You're going to use a lot of RAM while you're video editing. You're going to use at least 8 gigs of RAM. I don't like to recommend laptops for video editing with 8 gigs of RAM, but I understand budget constraints and the need to purchase a laptop on a budget. I totally understand that. I'm not saying, I'm not disrespecting your budget. But if you can get 16 gigs of RAM, that is very important, because Premiere Pro alone is going to use anywhere from 6 to 12 gigs of RAM on a conservative level. So if you're going to be using this laptop primarily for video editing, then I recommend 16 gigs of RAM. You can get away with 8, close down all your programs, edit 1080p, and you should be good. But I just want to make sure I'm emphasizing this, because I don't want you to make a bad decision on a laptop purchase. It makes me sad. I've had people comment below in my videos and they say, hey, you recommended this, and I thought it was too expensive, but then I bought this laptop over here and it was cheaper and I thought it was a good deal, and it didn't perform the way I anticipated, and I'm really disappointed. That makes me sad. Like, I don't want to see you guys buy the wrong laptops. That's why I've put this list together, to make sure I'm helping guide you in the right direction. So what RAM does in your laptop is, as you open more programs, it takes more RAM memory to run those programs. So say you have your web browser open, you're listening to music in Spotify, and you're trying to edit video, each one of those programs is going to pull away from your RAM memory. That's why I tell you to shut down all the programs if you're on a more of a lower end budget laptop, and just use Premiere Pro alone, so you can focus all of your RAM, all of your CPU, and all the GPU on that program. All right, so if you're curious about how your laptop is operating and how much power usage it's consuming, like I said, you can go to Control-Alt-Delete on your Windows, and you can check out your task manager, and that'll show you exactly how much power each program is pulling, so you can know how to what programs to shut down in order to have your laptop run with higher performance. All right, so again, if you're curious about the exact prices or specs of any of these models, you can head down in the description below and click one of those links. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd love to answer those questions for you. And remember, if you do use one of those links, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. And that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. I'm Benji Kaiser of BenjiKaiser.com. I thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you here on the next one.